There was pain, so much pain, on Monday's episode of The Bachelorette. Not only did Chicken Man David and big-hearted NFL player Clay end up in hospital, viewers lost out on a chunk of the show when ABC interrupted the broadcast so we could watch a different first date, that of U.S. President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Clay, right, with Blake and Becca Kufrin, was looking to be a Bachelorette MVP until an injury during a group date set him back. Paul Hebert, ABC, sure, they had more chemistry than, say, Becca Kufrin and Jordan, but how annoying that we didn't get to see the much-promoted footage of David getting carted away to the hospital, just a bloody towel on the floor, the men sitting around the mansion acting concerned and host Chris Harrison breaking the news to Becca. At least Clay was injured actually doing something, although it's pretty ironic that a guy who plays football for a living got hurt trying to win some bogus game in the so-called Becca Bowl. And Clay's team didn't win, they tied. And then Clay had to leave the show because he needed surgery for his wrist. As for David, he fell out of a bunk bed face first. Yup. And despite all Jordan's talk about karma, it had absolutely nothing to do with the bad blood, unintended, between him and David. Article continued below. The night's other big plot had to do with the manufactured triangle between Becca, her old Bachelor castmate Tia and Colton. To no one's surprise, hello, ABC, you already showed us promos of Becca and Colton kissing. Colton got to hang around. Here's a look at the episode highlights. Group date no. 1. Let's be honest, this date had nothing to do with Becca's girls sussing out the guys for her and everything to do with stringing out the silly "will Becca send Colton home" storyline by putting Becca, Colton and Tia in the same room. The premise was that Becca had invited Tia and her other friends Caroline, Becca, Sign and Kendall to a spa where Colton, Wills, Jason, Jordan, David and Jean Blanc were providing the services, manicures, pedicures, neck massages and the like. Of course, Colton and Tia were both nervous about seeing each other, but it's not like they had an actual relationship. Tia told Becca that all they ever did was kiss, and then, within days, Colton told Tia he had applied to be on The Bachelorette, so they decided to just stay friends. Then Becca wondered aloud if Colton had applied for the show assuming Tia would be The Bachelorette, which seems like a fair question, but one that Becca never asked Colton. Instead, after Colton assured Becca that his emotions for her were strong, she decided she wanted to get to know him, and by get to know him she meant attach herself to his lips. And then she gave him the date rose, which put the lie to all that nonsense about sending him home. Becca also smooched corporate banker Jason, which was the least she could do considering she forgot his name when she introduced him to her friends. And then there were Jordan and David. Jordan bragged to the other guys about his alleged 4,000 matches on Tinder and his 100% match rate. And then David, with the words, "I'm not one to throw people under the bus," threw Jordan under the bus by tattling about the Tinder matches to Becca. And then Becca made a joke about it to Jordan, which had Jordan calling David a bitch. But Jordan figured it would all work out in his favor because women like something that's worth catching. Article continued. Beloise, he actually said that. He also said, to Becca, "I know it's hard with me being, like, a model. And it's tough, like, genuinely. I can't find anyone who matches the intensity or the fun. And finally, you are something I would like to see myself next to." I'm not sure how Becca kept a straight face. Jason and Wills couldn't. It was all they could do not to spit out their drinks as David and Jordan sparred. "David, what's the look I'm getting right now? Is it the pensive look?" And Jordan raved about his professionality and his 3-year contract with Wilhelmina Models. one-on-one date. This date with sales trainer Chris, a visit to Capitol Records, was about as by the Bachelorette book as they come. We had the obligatory encounter with a past their best before date celebrity, in this case singer-songwriter Richard Marx. We had a silly activity meant to force the couple into a kind of faux intimacy, writing a love song for each other. We had an obstacle to the contestant being vulnerable. Chris was rejected by his estranged father after writing him a letter. "I don't want to get hurt again," Chris said solemnly. But after a pep talk and some kisses from Becca, Chris had a breakthrough. He wrote, "Hard for me to break down walls. Opening up didn't seem to exist, but then I looked into those beautiful eyes, breaking down my walls. I couldn't resist. Oh dear." Richard declared that Chris had dropped the mic. "Can we retire that overused term please?" And he might have been smiling, but it was hard to tell through all the plastic surgery. He set the treacly phrases to music, and Chris and Becca kissed. "I'm sure there was more touchy-feely talk at dinner, but we missed all that thanks to the Trump and Kim show." Group date no. 2. Considering that 2 of Becca's suitors are current and former pro football players, and 1 is a football analyst, it was inevitable we'd have a football date. So NFLer Clay suited up with Kristen, Leo, Connor, Blake, Garrett, Ryan, Mike, John and Lincoln for the so-called Becca Bowl. Becca was getting turned on watching Clay in his natural element, but he got hurt running a late-game touchdown and was carted off to the hospital. Becca took her mind off Clay's absence at the cocktail party by doing plenty of smooching. Garrett, Leo and Blake all got lip action, especially Blake, her first one-on-one. "Blake called me his girlfriend tonight, I felt so giddy," Becca enthused. But Clay had one more play in his book. He left hospital early to come see Becca, guaranteeing the date Rose would be his. Better luck next time, Garrett and Blake. Cocktail party, is it just me or did Becca's mood seem to improve in proportion to the physical pain of her bachelors? She was bubbling away about her future husband being in the group. She even kissed fitness coach Connor after they played baseball on the patio. But then Clay brought her way down. It turned out Clay needed immediate surgery on his wrist. To not have it could risk his career and the money he provided to his family, he told Chris. But Becca was the type of girl I've been looking for my whole life. Nonetheless, the choice was clear. You don't risk your living for someone you've known a few weeks, particularly when she's still dating 16 other men. Becca cried what seemed to be real tears after Clay gave back his rose and left. "Honestly, like I have nothing left. I'm just done," she said. "Seems a little extreme, but okay, we didn't see the rose ceremony. You know David comes back next week." Becca spends time with Lincoln and Garrett. Chris does something to annoy Colton, and Becca gets so ticked at someone she threatens to send guys home if they're not honest with her. You can watch Monday at 8 p.m. on City. And you can email me at dyo@thestar.ca, tweet me at realityo, or visit my Facebook page.